Greetings and welcome to Miles More Motivation, the show that is designed to give you happiness, fulfillment, and obviously a little bit of motivation. In this episode, we're going to talk about my 3 best pieces of advice for thought leaders, especially in this kind of weird, if you're watching this live, 2020 coronavirus pandemic. This is stuff that's really fundamental to me, things that I've recognized that in my life I've not done sooner, and I wish I had, because in actual fact through COVID my business has grown massively like never before, and I don't think that's ultimately down to me. I think that's really more about these 3 things and doing these 3 things well, which I've learned from other people. So the first thing that's really important in terms of being a thought leader and growing your business is this first one, which I learned really because I was doing some stuff studying Apple. It's what we call testing. So testing is so important. The reason why testing is so important, I don't know if you know the story about Apple and the iPhone 3. The iPhone 3 was actually meant to be a test. They weren't actually meant to release the iPhone 3. It was meant to be just a test run for the 4. And when I heard that, I was like, that's amazing. Think about if they hadn't released that 3. I remember my iPhone 3 very well, and I absolutely loved it. And so what I find a lot of people do that are perfectionists, if you're a bit of a perfectionist, I have been, is to effectively test but not actually release. And there's a big difference. You see, if you test something, if you create something and then you don't release it because you're like, oh, it's not perfect yet, well, no one's actually going to know if it's good enough, because you're the only one that can validate it. What you want to do instead is test your ideas by putting them out and just seeing how people respond. Like, I've made so many videos over the years which are not like perfect. This video is not perfect. There's so many things about it that I can improve and make better, just as I'm live in this video right now. But instead of thinking, oh, let's test it and then let's delete it, I will just put it out. You know, one of my mentors, Lucy Johnson, said, 7 out of 10 is your new perfect. That's a great way to think, because most of the time we're our biggest critic. So if that's the case, by putting something out that to you is 7 out of 10 is always going to be an 8, a 9, or a 10 out of 10 to the person that is on it actually sees it. So testing is so important, and the best way to test is actually put things out into the market more often, right? I used to do videos once a week. Now it's 5 times a week. The more you test, the better feedback you get to know whether what you're doing works. Second, which really ties in with that first one, is consistency, right? So it's so important that you're consistent with your testing, not just kind of doing it one time and then that's it. A bit like if you go to the gym, you don't get a 6-pack and the body that you want from one workout. You've got to do it consistently. So you've got to be doing videos consistently, like post consistently. You've got to be doing your marketing every single day if you want to get visibility. Consistency is so important. And the last thing, which for me was a blind spot, and it's something that I've definitely worked on a lot, especially this year, is what I call mentor mapping. What that effectively means is you want to get yourself a mentor who has already achieved the result that you want, and actually invest money, time, energy, effort to get the map so that you can effectively get to where they've got to. A bit like kind of finding a teenager who's already completed a video game and you just sit and watch them and copy them, or you get a driving instructor to teach you how to drive. It's what we call in NLP modeling, right? So getting a mentor to teach you what to do and copying what they do is the fastest way for you to succeed. I used to have a hang up about getting advice or support or paying for a mentor, ultimately because I went, I can figure it out for myself. And the reason why I had that belief is because my mum raised me, she raised me well, but she raised me with a belief that said, your dad left, so a lot of people aren't reliable. And I carried that belief into kind of business world, which meant I often kind of was like, is it a scam? Should I get help? Not sure. And there was parts of that was helpful in terms of kind of check in, should I trust this person or not? But there's a lot of times I didn't get help because I had this kind of ego shield that said, figure it out for yourself. And it was a lot slower. Like, I know that my business would be 5-10 times bigger had I got help 5-10 years ago, rather than waiting and just trying to figure it out for myself. So 3 best piece of advice, really simple for thought leaders. Knowledge is not power unless it's applied. Make sure you're doing those 3 things. Test more often, be more consistent, and get a mentor or a coach that can guide you to do the things that you know you need to do, but maybe you've been kind of trying to figure it out for yourself. Get the shortcut, and then you get the result that you want a lot faster. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, like it if you will, comment. I definitely would love a comment. Let me know what you think, thoughts, questions that you've got about this video, and I'll see you next time. Miles.